Hello! It's me, Emily Dubious, Chaotic Beach Goblin. I know I may look different in a building instead of running around on a beach screaming at limpets, but it is indeed me. Most of you probably know me for this. Hello, Limpet Coven. The knees are moist. But look at this goodly haul! And this. And definitely this. Pank, 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 pank. And for those of you that don't, welcome. I hope you enjoy chaotic beach content. Although today we're not on a beach, we are here in my workshop, aka my craft cave. It has all of the craft cave amenities: coffee, twinkly lights, a giant LARP safe spoon because... But yes, we are here in my crafty space because I get asked an awful lot on my videos what I do with my jars of treasure once I leave the beach. Some people have assumed that I have a giant room where the walls are just full of jars and I never reuse the same jar twice. And as tempting as that always is, I'm afraid that is not quite the way that my particular neurospiciness manifests itself. So I decided to make this video in order to demonstrate and show to you what it is I do with the jars once I come off the beach and bring them back to my house. I'm going to show you some bits of my workshop and some areas in which I display my sea treasures and yeah, what I do with the stuff I find on a beach. I think we're ready to go. I am fresh out of jars. As some of you may have picked up from the quite drastic differences between what the weather is in my videos and what it should be at the time of posting, I do tend to batch record my videos. This is partially because, as many of you know, I actually live down in the south of England, whereas the beach I tend to post from is where my parents live up in Scotland, which is quite a way away. I know to many of my American fans, 400 miles may not seem like a particularly long way for you, but yeah, for us here on this tiny island, that's about as far away as you can get. So, what I tend to do, take a couple of weeks off, grab a basket full of jars, up to Scotland for a couple of weeks, where my mum will provide me probably with more jars that she's been keeping for me, and spend a couple of weeks filming a bunch of different videos. I tend to keep all the jars, label them by date. I will edit the videos once a week for you all. With that being the method, I am actually fresh out of content. The last trip I did was the one with dear mini marine biologist Molly, who is an otter gem, but obviously that was a one-off. The last long-form trip I did was back in July with my friend Terry, and yeah, I have run out of Terry-based video content. And so we have this. Before the sort of jar and batch filmed and organised content, everything was a little more chaotic. Another issue I had with jars, they're great, they're clinky, they're wonderful, they're also heavy. So when I was travelling via plane, taking 20 jars in my suitcase was not going to really fly. I decanted a lot of my finds from the early days into either Ziploc bags, the traditional dog poo bag, and sometimes little paper envelopes. So here is a collection of, let's say, about 20 or so different finds from adventures past. So I figure we can go through one of these collections as my demonstrative how do I sort through my finds. I apologise that it's not a jar. I will make up for this gross transgression another time, I promise. Let's grab a bag of old finds and see what we've got. Cool. Don't mind that, that's recording this, so you can see my lovely nice crisp white. I like to get a nice white piece of paper because it just looks nice. We're gonna grab this one because it looked pretty full and like it's got a bunch of different interesting bits in there. The only sad thing about these bags is they're not dated, so I have absolutely no idea when this was from, which is a shame, but hey, never mind. Let's see what we got. Away with you. M&S food bag, not sponsored. Ooh. So this is stage one of any sorting process, is I append the jar and or bag onto a lovely piece of white paper, and we do what I like to call is a flat lay sort, where we lay out all of the pieces in some kind of slightly aesthetic way so I can take a photo of them for social media. Oh, got a lot of bones in this one. This is a very bone-heavy bag. Look at this. I do actually need some more bones. I made a little wrapped trinket out of a bone I had from the beach the other day, but foolishly let dear Magnus, if you remember, the lovely cat of my old housemate, I let him have it. He ate it.
This is now Magnus's bone.
Oh.
Bye. Bye.
He didn't like fully swallow it. He's fine. He just chewed it and snapped it open. Now these, I get a lot of comments on my videos, people telling me that they think they saw either a hagstone or a ring. 99 times out of 100, it is not a hagstone or a ring, it is this. It is a limpet shell that has had its conical top crunched off. I'm afraid that is most of the time what that's going to be on that particular beach. Brighton Beach, swimming in hagstones, absolutely everywhere. Beaches up in Scotland, or at least that particular beach up in Scotland, almost none. Chances are, if you think it's a hagstone, it's actually one of these. So we got bones. Ooh, we got bones. We got little limpet shells. We also got ceramic, big old chunky bits. They've been in a bag, bashing around each other for a while, so they're a little grainy at the minute. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that's lovely. That is a very nice piece. That is certainly a piece that is destined to become a badge. In this video, I won't be going into the things I make with my finds, but if you are interested in that, please do leave a comment saying so, because yeah, if this format does well, if people enjoy this, then I shall keep making them. Bottle top. We love a bottle top. Just, there's something about them. There's just something pleasing that you know precisely what it was and that it was that bit of it. I don't know. There's just something about bottle tops. There's something about bottle tops. Why does that sound like some kind of like indie, some kind of novel? When I do these sorts, very often it's this sort of ends up like this with bigger bits going down into smaller bits. Sometimes I put like pieces near each other. Sometimes I spread them out. It very much is a vibe thing. What is this? Whatever it is, it's crumbly. I think that is going to be a bit of plastic off of like a surfboard or like a chip off a side of a boat or something. I love how professional I am with this. I start being like, oh yes, I'm going to have some information for you, and then I just blah, 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 blah. Here is my random guess as definitely not a professional. People ask me so many questions like I know what the hell I'm doing, and I'm like, mate, I'm a chaotic goblin who has found a cool beach. That's about it. Right, let's keep on trucking. Oh, this bit looks like that's in the shape of a heart. Look at that bit. That's super sweet. Cute. Ooh, now I don't normally take shells off of the beach because they can still be part of the ecosystem and used for habitat. Occasionally I'll take like one if there's a particularly nice one, but I do try to avoid taking shells off of the beach if I can. As we saw with lovely marine biologist Molly, you should leave certain shells for the hermit crabs, for they are in danger. She's so cute. Oh my goodness. This is just it for a while, so I may speed ahead and just finish this up. So there you have it. That is stage one of the sorting process, which is laid all out on a piece of paper so you can look at it and it looks very pretty and beautiful, and yes. Next comes the sorting, which is the bit I'm sure most of you or many of you are keen to see. So I'm going to show you my system. Ta-da! So yes, my particular form of neurospicy compels me to sort things into categories. I was one of those children that sorted the M&Ms and the Smarties into colours before eating them. Let's go through this. Over here, these trays, these are pirate glass, and this is bones and driftwood. Although some driftwood also ends up in this pot, as you can see, particularly the larger bits. But bones, driftwood, pirate glass. Those big chunky bits over here. This bowl, this is for sea glass, as you can see, of pretty much any colour, but these are specifically bits that are too large to fit into my tiny display jars that I sell, or are sort of big enough or nice enough or chunky enough or whatever to potentially become jewellery, earrings, crafts, key rings, stuff. I do a wire wrapped method. In fact, here are some here. This kind of wire wrapped method of taking a piece of sea glass, wrapping it in wire and giving it a little nook at the top. But yes, this is all stuff that could at some day become something like that. Now, anything left, they're usually smaller. If they are smaller, they will go initially into these trays. These trays are actually quite new because for a while I would just sort the bits directly into little jars for selling, but I started to run out of time. So now I have these little trays which are assorted roughly by colour. These are for the common colours, and stuff from a collection will get sorted into them, and then at some point I'll decide what I'm doing with all of that, probably decanting a lot of it into tiny jars or using it for other crafts. Who knows? We also have some of the rarer colours. I put the pink aside, I put the blue aside. These are sort of coloured bits of milk glass. These are interesting colours, shades of certain greens or browns or ambers or teals that seem a little unusual and different, and have put them aside to like reconsider. This tray. This is just a chocolate box of some sort. It was a box of like chocolate dates and stuff. Oh my god, it's been a lifesaver. I freaking love it. As you see, lots of different categories, and I need to preempt this with none of these will make any sense to you. Don't worry about it, it works for me. We have these two end ones are projects. These are mushroom hats. These are ghost sea glass. Those are projects I am working on. Any bit that sort of fits into one of those projects goes into there. We have pattern ceramic. We have sort of coloured glazed ceramic, but plain colours. So mixed patterns, plain colours. We have sea glass with patterns on it, which you don't tend to find very much. So that's a ridged bit of sea glass with, engravings or patterns on. That goes in here. And here are interesting shaped bits. So bits with heart shapes on them. This bit I thought looked like a capybara, so it stays in there. Any bits that are interestingly shaped that I might want to do something with in the future. Bits with writing on. Bits with the text on, like GY, or some of you may remember the DE piece from the other day. This is uranium glass. This one's just kind of really, really interesting or very rare or very exciting colours of sea glass that I am unlikely to ever want to part with. Just like to put those aside. These are thin needly bits. I put them aside because they're good as a collection. I like to do little jars of just thin needly bits because that's how my brain works. These are bits of ceramic with stripes on. They're just pattern ceramic with stripes on. Anytime a pattern bit has a stripe on, it goes in here instead of there. Milk glass. Very quickly, milk glass is the glass that is this kind of opaque colour, like milk instead of clear. Flash glass, pastel sea glass. This is our bottom tray. We have plastic and man-made. I mean, I know ceramic and glass is man-made, but like plastic and electronics and other not glass or ceramic man-made bits. Interesting bits of ceramic that I have yet to decide where it's going. This is just like a holdover tray. Bonfire glass, which is sort of the lumpy bits of glass that looks like it's been melted. Bottle tops. Ceramic bits that I want to keep. We'll come back to this in a minute. Blue and pink. Baby blue and baby pink. Ceramic, because you find an awful lot of that stuff. Ridged ceramic, rigid bits go in there. Brick and sort of chunky, anything that's more like pottery than ceramic goes in here. Then we have miscellaneous bits. This has teeth in it. This has bits I don't know what they are in it. This is like miscellaneous, I don't know. Shells and fossils. I don't pick them up very often where I currently do, which is why that's such a small tray, but yes, the odd shell and the odd fossil. This is my favourite tray. It is buttons and beads. This is the bead string. Every time I find a sea glass bead, it goes on the bead string. Unless it is too wedged through with sand to be able to get a needle through it, in which case it stays in the box with buttons, dull arms, that ceramic horse's hoof, anything of that ilk goes in there. Some of you may at this point be seeing the pure extent of my madness because that is just one box. We also have this one. I went through this recently and reorganized it a bit, which is why a lot of these top trays are now empty. They are ready for something else. I'm waiting to see what kind of becomes necessary, but we'll just do a quick stones, tiny bits of driftwood and tiny bones that fit in there instead of those trays. Bottle tops again, pottery again. Now you may say, why do you have these two as well as those two? Well, remember this ceramic tray. This is the first place things go. When those trays fill up, I empty them and then decant them into these, because this is ceramic, all of these ceramic pieces, but divided into different sections. We have interesting shapes. We have ridges and edges. We have stripy ridged bit. We have bits that are definitely handles or the ends of pipes or bits like that. And we have interesting, weird, miscellaneous other shaped bits that are not so unique as to go in there. And then we have nubbins! The nubbin tray! That's weird, big rock bit. I get some of the categories are a bit vague. You'll just have to forgive me on that one. Pattern bits that are not patterned enough to have been made into ceramic badges, because if they are patterned enough, they tend to go into the ceramic badge thing. But if they're too small and not really sort of patterned enough for that, they go into here, as do all of these. Chunky sky blue ceramic, something you find very often, a very specific thing that gets its own tray. Patterned ceramic, again, bits that are not patterned enough to be its own badge, but that might in a collection be interested in one day, divided by colour. Brown, reds, yellows and oranges, greens, light blues, dark blues, blacks, interesting or different shapes or shades that are being weighted for decanting another time, teals, purple, pink and misk. Yeah. And you know, the absolute worst bit is that this isn't even all of it, because I still have various things. The tray of ceramic from, again, times past. We have big chunky bits from years and years ago, back from when I used to hunt in Essex rather than Scotland. We have my plastic tray full of bits sorted by colour, which I just haven't got round to looking at again since starting this tray. There probably needs to be a resort or a redecant across there at some point. And then, of course, there's my display shelf, where just things you send me, by the way. I have a PO box. It is open. I've been sent lovely things like these lovely bottles. Someone sent me this lovely tray of bits of ceramic that I want to sort through. If you send me a rock or a trinket or something you've made, like a friend with an eye or a little dinosaur, yeah, it'll probably end up on a shelf somewhere. I also have a pin board, so if you send me stuff, it may end up there. But yes, anyway, enough of that. Back to sorting. So as you can see, pretty chaotic as far as the sorting system goes, but it makes sense in my head and I love it. So what is probably most important about that sorting system is that it changes pretty regularly. I think I have rejigged and readjusted exactly what the trays are, where they are, what they're full of, what lives where, about at least 6 times since I moved here. So it is an ongoing organic process. Which is what you can say to anyone who tries to criticise how it is you keep your stuff. Anyway, we're going to sort some of this collection into our organic, ever-evolving display system. So, starting with probably the easiest, the bones and the driftwood. Very definitely its own little category, and it has its own little display nook over there. To be honest, they're small enough that they might fit into there, but I have been thinking about just having the one tray of them anyway, so they can live in there. Now that is probably a piece of pirate glass. Pirate glass is glass that looks black until you shine a light behind it, revealing its true colour. This week I actually had a Patreon live stream where I went through my pirate glass with a little torch and we revealed all of the colours together. It was a cute and lovely time, so if you are interested in joining the occasional exclusive live stream, consider joining my Patreon. Anywho, the pirate glass lives in the pirate glass box. That is almost pirate glass as well, but you can kind of tell that it's green just about from the naked eye, but I think it's close enough to go in the thing and I'll sort it out later. Now this is a pirate glass bottle top, so it could live in either the pirate glass tray or the bottle top tray. We're going to put it in the bottle top tray for now because that one's a bit emptier, but it may move depending on, yeah, whatever it is I fancy doing. Right, we have a definitely lovely piece of patterned ceramic. Now, patterned ceramic would normally go into the patterned ceramic tray. However, that is definitely fodder to be made into a bric-a-brac badge. So instead, it is going to be put aside, just aside, and I'll deal with it later. The weird little bit of plastic goes into the plastics and man-made materials tray. Our definitely a handle Normally it would go into this tray, and then when that tray is full I would decant it, but for the sake of this video and the fact that that is nearly full anyway, we're just going to put it straight into the handle tray. Same with this, would normally go in here, but we're just going to skip a step and just put it straight into the rims and edges tray, which now I've thought about it sounds a lot filthier than I intended it to, but never mind. I think heart-shaped piece can go into the interesting shapes drawer, which we may get out and have a look at some point. In fact, if there is an individual drawer that I have suggested or I have mentioned that you would like me to take out and lay out and have a proper look at, let me know in the comments. And if there is a drawer that people particularly want to inspect or see all the bits from, we can do that. We can facilitate this. I've just realised that this is going to be a very, very, very long video if I do every single bit. So I am just going to fast forward and just do some of the more interesting bits. So like this and this. Oh my goodness! See, this is why you've got to be careful. Sometimes I forget to turn bits over. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting blue bit. But if you turn it round, that's got a whole like little leafy feather bit on it, which now upgrades it into possibly being a badge. So we're going to put that there instead. Double check this bit. No, you are just plain blue. So plain blue goes into the plain coloured ceramic. Mad, definitely into our letters collection. I'm slowly working on getting a whole alphabet. I have to check on the progress of that at some point. Oh, I did also forget. One thing I normally do when it's laid out is I grab my trusty UV torch and just have a quick look for, yep, should have guessed, uranium glass. So uranium glass is glass that glows under a UV light. As you can see, that glows very, very, very green. So those are two lovely pieces of uranium glass, and so they will go into the uranium glass tray. Blue bits, big or small, we have the blue bits tray for our blue glass. This interesting tealy bit is a very exciting colour, so we're going to put that into our very exciting colours tray. This is just so unusual, it's so weird, I don't even really know what it is. That might actually live in my sort of unique pieces that I don't want to be rid of tray. Pattern ceramic. Although that's actually more like embossed ceramic than pattern ceramic, so that's probably going to live... This is another reason these are good. When I'm not really sure, it'll just go in there for now, and then when I resort that whole thing, I'll decide then. A lot of it is deferring the decision until later. So that is the way that will get decanted. Those individual bits will be found in the tray that they belong in. So like, again, the shell can go in the shell one, you know, more of the same. I'm not going to bore you going through this whole system. I am, however, going to show you one more final little place where things can sometimes end up, which is in my little wall display of joy. These are some of my favourite pieces. These are unique or individual bits. This is, for example, a bit of Corallina officialis, the coral weed, seaweed that is very difficult to find and get off the beach because it's so fragile, but I managed to get a piece back, so that lives in there. These are the, it's hard to tell in this light, I'll have to show you another time, but these are the pieces of purple that I found, like massive, bright, vivid purple sea glass, incredibly rare. This bead never made it onto the bead string because it's just so big and beautiful. It looks like a freaking grape. Look at the size of that. So I keep that. You know, there's this, which is like a little ceramic arm that is just beautiful and is my favorite. This thing, like, look at that. What is that? Like, look at that beautiful blue. I have no idea what that is. It looks like some kind of agate or rare stone. So I keep that separately. Fossils. This is my tiny, tiny sea glass apothecary bottle top. Unique, beautiful pieces that I don't want to part with, so I put them in tiny jars and keep them separately for myself because I mainly do this for me. So yes, as you might have guessed, the sorting process is about as chaotic as I am, but I hope that has answered some of your questions about where my sea glass goes, how I sort it, and yeah, what my workshop looks like. If you are interested or have any more questions or want to see more of this, please like and comment and share. As always, thank you so much to my Patreons, whose names should be scrolling past now or soon or in a minute. Without them, I wouldn't be able to make any of this content at all. So if you like my videos, if they've brought you joy or happiness or entertained you some way, then make sure you send all of your good feelings and thank yous to these Patreons, because they are the ones currently funding my videos and making sure that I can keep doing this. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you all again. All of you, stay crafty, chaotic and kind, especially to yourselves, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.